Yo, it's good. It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. I want to talk about next season for the Detroit Pistons. I've had a pretty good Detroit Pistons following on my channel, so I want to show them a little love, right? I want to do a video about what I believe the Detroit Pistons should look like next season. Not what they could, not what they will, but I believe what they should look like next season. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just start off by saying the Detroit Pistons have to be one of the most talented young teams in the NBA. They stack up with anybody. Between Cade Cunningham, I believe Ausar Thompson, and Jalen Duren, they have three of the future best players in the NBA. And I'm talking about top 25 talents. I'm talking about guys with a level of IQ who play both sides of the ball, who are very team first, who play a style that allows them to compete at NBA championship level. Let me be clear. Not every player is NBA championship caliber. It doesn't matter how talented they are. You look at a Karl Anthony Towns. He is not NBA championship caliber. He's really not even playoff caliber. And I know some of y'all might fault me for that. I don't think he is. He doesn't read the game well enough. His understandings and commitment to situations within the game is so lacking that many times he becomes as much of a deterrent to winning in the playoffs as he is an asset. And so he finds himself sometimes at a net zero. And I would say more often than not. But there are also players who are built for the playoffs, who are built for big moments, who seem to always know the right thing to do. And it's their ability to read the game and commitment to playing the game on both sides of the court, meaning offense and defense, at such a high level that they become an amazing asset regardless of their offensive production. Right? Somebody like Josh Hart. He's not somebody who's going to average 20 points a game ever. Right? On his best season, he might be able to produce a Bruce Brown type of a season and get you 12 to 15 points a game at his best throughout the regular season. But in the playoffs, in the championship games, that's who you want. Because they show up. They play big. They do the little things. They do the big things. They're not scared of the moment. They take and hit the big shots, but they also make the right passes and reads because they know it's not all about hitting the big shot. Sometimes it's also about getting the ball to the right player to hit the big shot. Setting the screen, boxing out, doing the backdoor cuts, doing the dirty work, diving on loose balls, getting those essential rebounds in big moments, making the right rotations, understanding the coverage, knowing what the team scheme is. This may sound like a lot, but this is what championship caliber players do on a regular basis. Guys like Mikal Bridges. Used to be guys like Chris Paul before his athleticism and injuries set in. LeBron James, right? Kawhi Leonard. Paul George. These guys who understand the game. Luka Doncic, right? And there's not a lot of them because it's not all about talent. Not all about, offensive talent. It's about how you apply your talent to all the little idiosyncrasies that allow you to win. But let me go even further. Not only do they have that level of talent, but they also have guys like Jaden Ivey and James Wiseman who have the potential to ascend to those levels as well. Not just as NBA championship caliber players, but who also have all NBA, multiple time all-star level talent. And that is also something that is not common. You don't find those guys. And to find yourself with five of those guys on the same team who are all under the age of 25, really 23, I believe, that is incredible. That's not to mention Isaiah Stewart, Isaiah Livers, guys like Marcus Sasser. All these guys, Marvin Bagley III, have incredible potential to be long-time starting level NBA players. If not solid role players who are in strong rotations for years to come. And yet, these guys are still incredibly young. And when I say incredibly young, I mean they are incredibly young. They are still figuring out who they are and who they are going to be in the NBA. And what that means is they need time to develop. Now, here it all is. What do I think the Detroit Pistons should look like next season? I think they should 100% have a commitment to development over winning. Now, I know some of you guys are looking at me crazy and going, yo, man, they've barely been winning the past few years. We're due. It's time. Cade Cunningham is here. But the reality is it's not just about Cade Cunningham. One player is not going to do it. He needs a squad, and he needs a squad that is playing at its optimal level, which means that they have to have the freedom to develop their skills and develop the confidence in those skills that maximizes their potential. The first point I want to point out here is Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley III. Each of them need to be able to have the space and the freedom to develop their three-point shooting. Now, I know this may seem like, oh, of course, but here's the thing. Many times when bigs are developing and they're on winning teams, they are not asked to develop, especially their shooting. Yes, they'll ask you to make sure you master the pick and roll game, right? Boxing out, rebounding, defending the rim, knowing your rotations, defending on the perimeter. Much of it has to do with your defensive potential. Just look at DeAndre Ayton, right? But his shooting touch that he came into the NBA with that 18 to 20-something footer, he still is at that same point. Yeah, they want you to do the jump hooks. Yeah, they want you to do the up and under, the stuff around the rim. But they don't necessarily develop you to maximize your potential because they're trying to win right now. And you shooting 28% from three on 2 to 3 attempts per game does not necessarily fit into that winning outlook. And so the first point is next season, those guys need to have the freedom to shoot those open corner threes, top of the key threes that they should be able to get with guys like Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey creating for them. The second part is they need to give heavy minutes to Ausar Thompson and I think Marcus Sasser. These two guys need to have the freedom to begin to figure out how they want to apply their game, their skills, and their abilities within the roles that they will have when this team is at their best. And when that looks like is, one, Jaden Ivey figuring out how to apply his game from the off guard position, not as a point guard, not as a primary shot creator or facilitator, but as a shooting guard. As somebody who's going to be playing off the ball, namely off of Cade Cunningham. Shoot, even off of Monty Morris. Jaden Ivey is not a point guard. He is not. I think that was evident despite his development, despite his ability to improve his decision making. He is not naturally a facilitator, floor general, or somebody who reads the game at a high enough level to understand what all 5 players on the court are doing on offense and on defense and lead his team to victories. That is not who he is. He's a scorer. He's a shooter. He's somebody who's looking to get downhill, somebody who's looking to create his shot, maybe the occasional kick out and dump off, but he is best in that downhill attack mode. The best comparison that I have for him that I've seen is probably Eric Gordon. If you remember him early from the Clippers, he was somebody who was extremely athletic, but had really good range on his jump shot and was able to get to the rim and finish with his strength and athleticism. And that is something that I think Jaden Ivey is going to be able to do in spades for the Detroit Pistons. But as Troy Weaver even pointed out, last season he said, we still don't know what our team is. We still don't know how good we can be because we haven't had our full collection of talent for a full season. James Wiseman came in halfway. Cade Cunningham was out for almost the entire season, right? Jaden Ivey is playing out of position, right? You didn't have Ausar Thompson last year. You didn't have Marcus Sasser last year. You were still trying to see if Killian Hayes was going to be able to do it. And he looks like he's almost out the door, right? Marvin Bagley was gone for a huge chunk of the season. Isaiah Stewart was gone for a huge chunk of the season. Isaiah Livers was getting minimal time here and there, right? You don't know what you have. And so you have to begin to create a dynamic that allows you to get these guys consistent playing times. And I mean 28 to 30 plus minutes a game. Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley III are going to be practically splitting minutes down the middle. Now, this is what I'll also say, is that as you put these guys into their roles and you begin to focus on development, I think the style of play that the Detroit Pistons need to focus on is something closer to what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing. The Cleveland Cavaliers are going big, real big, between Evan Mobley, between Jarrett Allen, and the rest of those bigs coming off the bench. They play big. They destroy teams on the glass, defensive and offensive, and they close off the rim on the defensive end. They have constant lob threats, and Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen are slowly but surely developing their ability to at least hit that 18-footer in the corner for little kickouts or top of the key. And I think we're going to see even more offense coming from Evan Mobley, hopefully next season. But it's to say that I think that is going to be their biggest strength. Their ability to control the game at the top of the key with Cade Cunningham and to overpower teams with their size on the inside. James Wiseman is a legit 7'1". You look at him next to Jalen Duren, it's very clear Duren is 6'10", 6'11", and Wiseman is 7'1". Duren and Wiseman both have 7'5" and 7'6" wingspans, respectively. Isaiah Stewart is 6'10" with a 7'4" wingspan. Marvin Bagley III is 6'10", 6'11", has a shorter wingspan at about 7'1" or 7 feet, but he's a great athlete who has really good touch and the ability to play on the perimeter. And the ability to be able to stay big is going to allow them to play to their strengths, maximizing the size that they have and potentially creating almost a countercultural style of play that allows them to beat up on the rest of the league. You got to realize when the Golden State Warriors began to dominate the league, it was because they had a style of play that nobody else could replicate. And the reality is there's few other teams who have the level of size, especially coming in off the bench, that the Detroit Pistons present. And this is what I think the Detroit Pistons need to lean into. Going big, staying big, and playing a big man style of game. I want to see high-low coming from those bigs. I want to see post-entry passes. I want to see them looking for bigs running in transition. Right? They should be yelling at Marvin Bagley III and James Wiseman and saying, we want to see y'all running, sprinting, and beating the other team's big men down the court every single time. You're only getting 25 minutes a game. And whoever's playing best is going to close. So you don't have to hold back energetically. We want to see you challenging on that perimeter, challenging shots, closing out, getting back. You don't need to conserve nothing because we got depth. And we should be able to see Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren being some of the most physical interior big men that we've seen since probably the Detroit Pistons won their last championship with Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. They need to go big or go home. This is the outlook that I have for the Detroit Pistons. And I think if they do this, no, they're not going to win as many games as we might like them to. But what they will do by the end of the season, one, they'll know exactly what they have in their bigs and in their talented roster. Two, they're going to see if this style of play can really transcend and work because the level of size and athleticism that they have and guys who are still under those rookie deals with Wiseman and Jalen Duren, right? Isaiah Stewart is going to get a contract, but it ain't going to be no max, nowhere near, right? Marvin Bagley already has his deal, and it's actually really cheap, especially if he turns out to begin to take those big leaps this year if he's not injured, right? They have an opportunity to be something that nobody else can match. But as always, I want to know what you all think. Do you think they need to go big and focus on development? Or do you think that they just need to go all in right now and start trying to play to win and just say, hey, the best 8 are going to play night in and night out? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Once again, this is Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Smash that like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications if you enjoyed it. And I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.